Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, welcome back to The Fragrance Well. Today's topic of discussion, we've got grab and go fragrances. These are fragrances where you're just going to run some quick errands and you just want to put on a fragrance without really having to think about it. I got some great options here that I think are perfect for that scenario. Got some personal favorites of mine, got some that I may not necessarily be the first thing I would grab in that scenario, but I do think they work well for that situation. Before we get started, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like the content, and remember to hit that bell icon so you can be notified when I upload new content. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, so without further ado, the first one is from Mason Francis Kirkjohn. We've got Aqua Celestia Forte. MFK, Aqua Celestia Forte. So this one here is a very bright and brisk, citrusy, limey, peppermint-like fragrance. You got quite a bit of musk in here as well, so it just has a nice cleanliness, a nice tanginess to it. It kind of puts me in the vibe of like a mojito. It doesn't necessarily smell like one or make you think of one directly, but it puts me in like a similar vibe. It's giving off that kind of characteristic to me, at least. This is one I actually didn't reach for much. It's more so of a fragrance my wife was enjoying, but I tried it out I think a couple of weeks ago, and I gotta say, it's actually a really nice fragrance, especially for situations when it's really hot like it is right now, and it does have some lasting power to it as well. It's also quite soapy, so it's just gonna come off as soapy, clean, and brisk, and bright, and not really offensive to anyone, thus making it a grab and go choice in my opinion. Once again, this is MFK's Aqua Celestia Forte. Next up, from the house of Giorgio Armani, we've got Acqua di Gio Profumo. Acqua di Gio Profumo. All right, so let's just be real. Really, any of the Acqua di Gios kind of fit into that grab and go category, or at least most of them do, because they're so versatile. Of course, you can just grab it and spray it and go, which is what most normal people want to do anyway. So this one here, of course, you already probably know it, has that aquatic notes, has that a little bit of a spice to it, has the fresh and aromatic touches to it, but Profumo in particular has added patchouli and incense just to make it a little bit darker and a little bit more versatile in terms of temperature. I'm not a super big Acqua di Gio fan. I don't hate that the fragrance line, but it just doesn't do that much for me, but I still think this is by far the best one, and if I'm gonna have one, it's gonna be this one, and I simply cannot deny that this fragrance just simply works. It is what it is, and I accept that, and I cannot deny it is a great grab and go choice, probably one of the best out there, and of course the new Parfum would work as well. I just like Profumo better. Acqua di Gio Profumo, great grab and go choice. All right, guys, next up from the house of Roja Parfums, we have got Elysium Parfum. Elysium Parfum. I know they have the Parfum Cologne, I just like this one better. So this here is a concoction of citruses, floral notes, aromatic notes, a little bit of woodiness to it, some musky accords, and even just a little bit of fruitiness. Since I've had the bottle for a while now, at least in this heat, I am starting to pick up a lot more of the fruitiness in this fragrance. There are listed notes of apple and black currant, so I could be picking up that a little bit better since I've had the bottle for a while now. The Elysium fragrances in general are considered to be kind of those blue-like grab and go fragrances from the house of Roja Parfums. Probably considered to be one of the easiest, if not the easiest fragrance to wear for most men at least. The fragrance is a little expensive, so it might not necessarily be considered to be a grab and go style for a lot of people, because most people put less expensive fragrance in their grab and go category. I tend to do the same, but there's no denying that this definitely works as a fragrance you can just put on and it'll be just fine. Once again, from the house of Roja Parfums, we've got Elysium Parfum Pour Homme. Next up from the house of Versace, we have got Man Eau Fraiche. Versace Man Eau Fraiche. And man, let me tell you, this is easily one of the easiest grab and go fragrances I have in my collection. It's definitely one of my go-tos. I have a spot down the street from my house that I play drums at at least once a month or so, and every time I always go over there early because it's so close to my house, and every time I do, I just spray this on because by the time I'm playing that evening, it's obviously gone. It's not a super great performer, but it is an easy to wear fragrance, has some star fruit in it, giving it a little bit of a tropical vibe, has some aromatics, kind of a citrus, type of vibe to it. It's kind of watery as well. It just smells pleasant and it's just easygoing. Perfect grab and go fragrance as far as I'm concerned. And if you're gonna do some other stuff later on and you don't necessarily want this smell on you, you don't have to worry about it, because like I said, it's not a great performer, but that's okay. You can just spray it all over yourself and do whatever you need to do. From the house of Versace, we've got Man Eau Fraiche. Next up, from the house of Nishane, we have got Wulong Cha. Nishane's Wulong Cha, a tea fragrance first and foremost, has some very bright citrus accords. I pick up a lot of orange in it. There's also a little bit of fig to give it just a little bit of a creaminess, a little bit of nutmeg, just a little bit of spice, but it is a orange tea fragrance as far as I'm concerned. It's great for the summertime, obviously, very cooling fragrance. I'm curious to see how it wears when it cools off. I'm definitely gonna give this a wear when it's a little bit cooler out. I just wanna see how it wears. But the fragrance is so refreshing and uplifting and relaxing, you can pretty much wear it for whatever. This is definitely not one I would put in a category as a situational fragrance. It'll work for all of them. And any fragrance that fits into that category is automatically going to be a good grab and go fragrance. Now I will say, just a caveat, this fragrance does last all day on my skin at least, and if you want to wear something else later on after you've done your grab and go activities, this might not be the best choice, or just maybe wear something else that can kind of spray over the top of it, or just take a shower. All that being said, perfect grab and go fragrance, especially for the warmer weather. Nishane's Wulong Cha. All right, next up, coming from the house of Givenchy, we've got Gentleman Boisé. Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisé. So this one here, compared to the other fragrances in the Gentleman line, the iris has been turned down a little bit and you've got a lot more kind of dry woodiness and some smoky accords to give it more of a woody feel. You still got that iris, still got those spices that is pretty prominent in most of the Gentleman fragrances to a degree, but I think this one kind of gets that grab and go nod because that iris is turned down a lot more in this fragrance. It's still there, but the star of the fragrance, if you will, is the woods. In my opinion, that kind of makes this one the best grab and go fragrance from the line, other than maybe the intense version. So once again, from the house of Givenchy, this is Gentleman Eau de Parfum Boisé. Next up, from the house of Parfums de Marly, we have Greenlee. Parfums de Marly's Greenlee. So this fragrance here has a lot of green apple and notes like that in it, but it basically smells kind of like a really high quality shower gel. I almost think the fragrance in many ways was designed to be a grab and go choice because it has that shower gel like vibe to it. It just doesn't smell like a cheap one. I know I've certainly sprayed this on a couple of times when I go run a couple of errands, whether it's the grocery store or over to my farmer's market. The fragrance smells very pleasing. It's very nice and bright. It's great for the warmer weather. So another thing I think makes it a nice grab and go choice is its likability. So once again, this is Parfums de Marly's Greenlee, a great grab and go option for me. All right guys, and last but not least, we've got Bleu de Chanel Parfum from the house of Chanel. Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Now, this fragrance here is it's one of the quintessential blue fragrances on the market, one of the ones that kind of started the blue fragrance craze. And as far as I'm concerned, it is one of the holy grails in terms of being a grab and go fragrance. You know it well, it can pretty much work for anything, has some citrus accords. This one here in particular has a lot more of the blonde woods like cedarwood and sandalwood, has a couple of aromatic touches to it. It's just a great grab and go option. It's a great all around fragrance and it smells phenomenal. Any of the Bleu de Chanel's can work for this category. This one is just the best in my opinion. By the way, Chanel, can we get another men's release? Don't do Elixir unless it's just gonna be just mind-blowing. Otherwise, man, give us something new, man. Come on, we've been waiting for a while. So yeah, this is still one of the most popular fragrances in the country, and part of the reason is it's one that just works for everything. Therefore, great grab and go choice. Once again, this is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for this video. That was 8 fragrances that I think are awesome grab and go choices. I wanna thank you for watching all the way into the end. And remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.